Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Many of you know that's where you are, and that's great. And if you don't, that's okay too. I'm just happy to welcome all of you. I'm Reverend Mary Marie Shelton. I'm the community spiritual leader here, and I want to welcome those of you that are online with us this morning as well. Thank you for taking some time out of your Sunday morning to be with us on this beautiful November day. So we are a spiritual community that believes the divine presence is everywhere, in everyone, in everything, all the time, no matter what it looks like, without exception. And that means that we want to open our hearts, even in the places where it's the most difficult to do that. But this is not a difficult thing I'm going to ask you to do. This is the time to make each other welcome. So I want to invite you to stand and go around and greet each other, introduce yourselves to people you don't know, welcome anyone that you haven't met before, welcome people back, and those of you at home, give yourselves a hug, get another cup of coffee or tea, take a little jog around the living room, get yourself awake, and in just a few moments we'll all be back here to sing together. So I encourage you to be ready to join in when we do that. All right, I am so delighted with this beautiful, chilly fall morning. It just feels really appropriate to have a chilly morning with a lot of sunshine here in Marin County. This morning we have Nathan Aswell on video to do music with us. Now Nathan is a singer-songwriter and speaker who lives in Vancouver, British Columbia. I knew him when I was the minister up there. He plays a very unusual instrument. It's called a stick. It can be tapped, strummed. What's the other thing it can be? Tapped, strummed, or plucked. Yes, plucked. And so it's very unusual. I've never seen anybody else play one. So that's what he's doing when you see this unusual instrument. And he's doing a Karen Drucker song with us this morning, but he's doing it a little bit differently. This is Thank You for This Day, but he's really doing it as a call and response. Now, you know this song, which means that every other line he's going to play, but he's not going to sing. That's for us to sing. The words will be on the screen. So please stand now and prepare to sing with Nathan this morning. And here we go.
Warm greetings, everyone. It's always a great pleasure for me to be with you at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. In honor of this month's theme, Abundance is Already Yours, and of today's theme, Gratitude Opens My Heart, I'd like to kick things off with an up-tempo version of a great call and response song by Karen Drucker called Thank You for This Day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my life, Spirit, thank you for my life. This blessed life. Thank you for my life, Spirit, thank you for my life. This blessed life. Thank you for your love, Spirit, thank you for your love. This wonderful love. Thank you for your love, Spirit, thank you for your love. This wonderful love. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful friends. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing day. Thank you.
That's great. You sound wonderful. Thank you so much. So, thank you, Nathan. Now that we have sung together and exchanged greetings, we're officially a congregation, not just a bunch of separate people sitting here. And that includes all of you who are with us online too. And I hope you sang just then, even in your living room by yourself. So this is the time that we're going to silence our cell phones and go ahead and turn within and become centered for the morning so that we're as receptive to everything Spirit has for us as we can be. And our morning practitioner, Reverend Judith Fleener, is going to offer the opening prayer for us right now.
Thank you, Spirit, the divine energy of all life and all things, that one power that enlivens and unfolds the activities of the world. This one power, this one life, I choose to call God. But it could be called the force, love, joy, chaos. It is the energy of all movement and all togetherness. It creates form out of nothing and evaporates form back into the native nothingness from which it comes. And so when I remember this truth of the highest and best that God is, and remember that since it is omnipresent, that means that it is present with me right here, right now, and in every action of my life. That it is the omnipotence of this one universal life force that is the life force that moves me forward. And so knowing this connection to the divine, that it is never not there, it's just that I sometimes get a little sideways or forget. It is in this place of knowing the connection with the all that I claim for this time together, that each and every person online, in this room, and in this universe has that ability in each moment to return to the center of the truth of their being and look around the world in gratitude. Gratitude for the abundance of ideas, the abundance of opinions, the abundance of flowers and trees, and the abundance of things that we don't like. But it is all a sign of abundance. And in that place of centering back to realizing that we are infinitely connected to this infinite world that is constantly manifesting, constantly changing, constantly rearranging, that in the center of all of it is that divine energy of love. And so in that centering, all there is to give gratitude. See the goodness in my world. See where it is emerging. See where it is becoming anew. That as I see with eyes of gratitude, it generates more to be grateful for. I am so thankful for this community that can come back to and be centered in. For the friends, for the supporters, for those who speak truth when I need to hear it the most. And so I am just thankful for this community today, and I hope that each and every person in this room has a shift in consciousness, reminding themselves of the truth of their being and seeing through eyes of gratitude everything that is abundant around them. And so in this place, I give thanks for this time together. I give thanks for the music. I give thanks for the message. I give thanks for the medium of friendship. And I let it be. And so it is.
I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness this with everything else. I know that all that I give to myself.
On Thanksgiving Sunday, the pastor asked if anyone in the congregation would like to express gratitude for answered prayer. Susie Smith stood and walked to the podium. She said, "I have a gratitude to share. 2 months ago, my husband Phil had a terrible bicycle wreck, and his scrotum was completely crushed. The pain was excruciating, and the doctors didn't know if they could help him." You could hear a muffled gasp from the men in the congregation as they imagined the pain that poor Phil must have experienced. "Phil was unable to hold me or the children," she went on, "and every move caused him terrible pain. We prayed as the doctors performed a delicate operation, and it turned out they were able to piece together the crushed remnants of Phil's scrotum and wrap wire around it to hold it in place." Again, the men in the congregation cringed and squirmed uncomfortably as they imagined the horrible surgery performed on Phil. "Now," she announced in a quivering voice, "thank the Lord. Phil is out of the hospital, and the doctors say that with time his scrotum should recover completely." All the men sighed with unified relief. The pastor rose and tentatively asked if anyone else had anything to say. A man stood up and walked slowly up to the podium, and he said, "I'm Phil." The entire congregation held its breath. "I just want to tell my wife that the word is sternum." I am very appreciative of laughter and humor. So as we have looked into November as a time that abundance is already ours, we recognize that teaching in the Science of Mind that says that the only thing that prevents us from experiencing our abundance is our own perspective or our own blocks that get in the way of letting the good come to us. And we may have been given those blocks, we may have learned them as kids, somebody else or society may have affirmed them, but whether they're our sole responsibility or we've received them through a group effort, whatever blocks we have to letting in the greater good, that becomes our experience of having less than the abundance that we want. Today, I'm talking about gratitude opening the heart. When gratitude opens the heart, it starts to dissolve some of those blocks, some of those old beliefs that prevent us from experiencing the abundance that's in our lives. And until we experience and recognize and enjoy and appreciate the abundance we already have, we don't have room to let in any more. So the universe, as much as it might like to deliver even more to us, can't get through our perspective sometimes to actually deliver that to us. So I was thinking about all of the things that make a difference to me, the things that I experience appreciation or gratitude for. When I look back at the course of my life and I think about all of the people in my life who contributed something to me, whether it was family members or friends or teachers or random people, the number of people who've contributed to my life is vast. And that's true for every one of us. If we, and I sometimes say this on Sundays, but I'm going to say it again, think about what you're wearing. Every single thing that you have on came from somebody else's work, and not just one person. You know, there were people that had to grow it, perhaps, and weave it, and dye it, and design it, and cut it, and sew it, and package it, and sell it to somebody who takes it and then receives it and distributes it and sells it again until it comes to you and you're wearing it. And every single thing that you have on went through something like that. And most of the things that you have on did not come from the same place or the same person, or maybe even the same country. And here we are, this hodgepodge. Nobody in here is unclothed. Everybody's wearing something. You know, nobody in here is without something on their feet. Everybody's wearing something. All those things that we have, they're just part of what we take for granted as our everyday stuff. And yet these are all gifts. We weren't born with any of this. We didn't make it, in most cases, except for Erica maybe. We didn't make it or design it ourselves, right? We didn't weave it. For the majority of us, that's true. And yet we are the recipients of all of that. Yes, we paid for them, but we are the recipients of all of that, of the work of all those people, of the coordinated effort of all those people. And that's just one aspect of our lives. So think about humor for a moment. What would it be like if there was nothing in the world that ever made us laugh? Nothing that was ever funny or surprising or uplifting. Think of all the people that have made you laugh in your life, from your pets to your children, to your parents, to your friends, to professional comedians, to just random stuff that happens that's funny. Or, you know, often over the course of my ministry, I'll have an experience that really frustrates me in the moment. And the comforting thing about it is I can think, this is going to make a really good story on Sunday. That something has actually given me that experience. This morning, one of the things that I enjoyed was watching you, David, with the opening song, dancing with your walking sticks. You know, just letting them kind of guide the dance. I mean, moments like that that give you an experience of joy or wonder or delight. That's one thing I appreciate. Another thing I appreciate is when an idea is something that I encounter either in my reading or I see it or hear it in some program, or I put two things together in my mind and think, oh, that's how that works, or that's what that means. I love those aha kind of moments. And I suspect many of you do as well. Is that true? Yeah, that kind of flash, that, oh, now I understand that. Now I get that. Those are moments of gratitude. So, you know, we might ask ourselves then, what things have happened to me in my life? What opportunities have I had? What moments of surprise good have shown up in my life that I have been delighted by, or that I didn't expect at all? Somebody gives you a compliment or a gift, or you receive a card or an email or something that is such a delight and such a surprise, and you're so grateful for it in that moment. You're so delighted to have received it, and you didn't see it coming. You didn't do anything in particular that you're aware of to deserve it. It just shows up in your experience. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Does that make sense? So, what and who are you already grateful for that you maybe need to bring to mind and remember that you experienced gratitude for that? Who made a difference in your life? Who noticed something about you that they complimented you for? Something that you appreciated being seen or reminded or told that something about you was delightful. When I was a little kid, I always got compliments on my dimples. It wasn't anything I earned. It wasn't anything I did. It's just something that was always there. And I received those compliments, and then after a while I just got used to them, and it was like, oh yeah, dimples, yeah, I have them. But there is something amazing about this muscular anomaly that's actually a mutation that shows up in my face and is supposed to be delightful rather than ew, you know? Because there are things that we can wear or have in our lives that are kind of ew sometimes. I always felt like that when I was wearing my glasses. But it's the same kind of thing. Like, why is that not delightful? So who noticed things about you that were delightful, that you loved having that brought out or appreciated? And what compelled you in your life? What pulled you or pushed you almost irresistibly in such a way that you found yourself going forward towards something? And it wasn't something that you felt like you initiated, but it happened inside you. It moved you to apply for that job or ask for that date or decide to take that class or be determined that you were going to learn how to do something. And in that process, that divine impulsion that comes through us reveals more of who we are to us. It's a gift. That irresistible urge that sometimes we want to resist, or we don't know why we feel that way, or we don't want to really do it, but we can't help going forward into that area, some positive evolutionary area for us. What qualities in the world bring you joy? Like laughter, like it might be rainfall, it might be the sound of the ocean when you're at the beach, it might be seagulls or clouds. I often have a thing for clouds coming from Seattle. Certain kinds of days, I will say, what a great sky, because I love the clouds, the way that they show up out there sometimes. Deepak Chopra said several things actually, but he said, gratitude is not just an expression of good manners. It's a doorway to higher consciousness. Repeatedly thanking the universe for the fact that we're infinitely abundant awakens us even more to the experience of that abundance. We can very easily miss the abundance that we have in our lives already because it's there all the time. So we tend to not pay attention to it anymore, just to take it for granted. It's just there. He also says, opening the door of gratitude leads to the realm of abundance. If we're grateful for something, the universe produces more of it. Of course, because the universe always produces more for us of whatever we focus our attention and our passion on. The universe doesn't care if it's positive or negative. All it knows is your attention and energy are going over there, so we're going to do more of that. Because that seems to be what you want to give attention to. So here you go, have some more of that. So if our attention is on what's already around us in our lives that we're grateful for, then more of that can come to us because we ourselves have opened the door to that. Positive or negative. Gustavo Razzetti says, gratitude means the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. Perception is not reality, he says. It's our interpretation of reality. Accepting reality, accepting it, is anything but passive. It opens your mind to discover opportunities. Appreciation means to stop taking everything for granted. So when we begin to be thankful for things like your favorite paring knife, or a particular blossom in your garden, or the random conversation of crows as you're taking a walk, or running into another person and their dog while you're walking yours. Any of those moments of encounter that we can just take an extra moment to savor with appreciation brings more moments to enjoy like that into our experience. But if we're already ignoring the ones that we're already getting, there's no point in giving us more because we wouldn't notice them. Our noticing is already tuned into someplace else. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, the insistent and universal desire for self-expression is a divine urge within us, even God himself tapping at the walls of our heart, urging us on to fuller life. And it does not matter how short or long the lifespan is that we're in the midst of. As we're having that, we get those taps on the shoulder to notice something, to take a moment of appreciation. We have toys at home for our cats on long wands. They're these colorful little fuzzy things. And as you roll them around and flap them through the air, one of the cats, we have a couple of them, one of our cats, that's her favorite thing in the world, and she will run and jump and chase and do her best to catch the thing. Ironically, though, when she catches it, as much as she likes this game, when she catches it in her mouth, she takes the whole thing away into the other room, dragging the wand and everything with her into the other room. You let it go, and she goes. Now, we generally have said, okay, game over. But she's not really finished. So what I've learned to do is to not move, to just stand there, to lean over and look into the other room until she turns around to see if I'm still there. And when she sees that I'm still there, she turns around and drags the whole thing back over into the living room where I am, right up to me, and drops it at my feet and looks up at me. More, she's saying, more. Now, this would be great if I could always choose to initiate, or if Amanda could choose to initiate when this game is going to happen. But this cat loves this game so much that anytime either of us walks into the living room, she jumps up from wherever she is and rushes over. Like, maybe now, maybe now. Or there are certain times in the morning, though, I usually always play this game. So as I'm putting on my jewelry, she knows the time is coming. And she'll come right around the corner and look up at me and start to meow. Are we ready? Is it happening? Are we doing it now? She's always delighted. Every single time. I've never seen her look at this thing and just go, eh. Her sister does. That's not her thing. Food is her thing. But this one, it's about the toy. It's about the game. But she never stops being delighted in it. And what does that do? I love seeing her enthusiasm and playing with that. So that gets me to do it more. I do it much more than I thought I would when those toys showed up at our house. Much more. And Amanda's worse than me. So that cat gets a lot of playtime because we love watching her jump and leap, and she's so enthusiastic and so funny. Although she will sometimes, when she's done, she will eventually take it into the other room and then not bring it back. And then that's the end of the game for sure. That kind of delight is like that flash of insight for me. It's you just are thrilled with it. It's like watching a little kid who laughs, one of those wonderful little baby belly laughs, every time you make a particular noise or you do a particular thing. You know that when they laugh like that and it delights you, you're going to do it again. The positive reinforcement brings that back. And the more they're delighted in that, the more frequently that kind of game takes place because we know that they enjoy it and it gives us something to do with them. Well, what would make us think that the universe is any less like that? That it looks out. Now, I am now anthropomorphizing creative law, which is really dumb because it's completely neutral. It doesn't respond because we're delighted. But when we are delighted, we're putting our attention on something. And if it delights us every time we put our attention on it, that delight and passion, that keys in the law to produce more of that. And I like to think that the infinite operates through law that way because it is equally tickled by the fact that we're delighted by something or that we're obsessed with it, either way. So we get more to find out what that's like. If it's something we don't enjoy and don't like, and we keep giving it attention, and it keeps getting worse, perhaps the universe is trying to tell us something. Like, are you getting it? That staying focused on this is not doing what it is that you would like it to do? That staying obsessed with this idea is only giving you more of it. So why not Shift your attention now towards something that delights you, something you enjoy, and bring your passion to that instead. Elbert Hubbard said, "I would rather be able to appreciate things I cannot have than to have things I am not able to appreciate." Think of somebody like Howard Hughes, who had obsessive compulsive disorder, but also was somewhat of a narcissist. He had the power and the money to insist that things be exactly the way he wanted them. It was not a happy life. So having more is not necessarily the answer. It's an abundance of what? Abundance of what? An abundance of joy, an abundance of peace, an abundance of delight, of laughter, of enjoyment, of appreciation. Those are the things that make our lives feel full, and not choosing to obsess over those places where there's less, because we're missing all of what we've been given. Is this making sense, what I'm saying to you? Are you with me here? Mark Twain said, "You can't depend on your eyes when your imagination's out of focus." Because it is not reality, it's our interpretation of reality. So when our imagination is out of focus, then we may be awfulizing, we may be predicting negativity, we may be fearing something, but that's our imagination out of focus. Having our imagination in focus is when we're looking to the good and expectancy of more good, not expectation of a specific good, but expectancy of greater good, opening to the greater good, trusting that it's there even when we don't see it, looking forward to it with enthusiasm. This is what brings us more of the good. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, says, "Therefore, our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which in itself is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it's infinite. So it is not a question of its willingness or its ability. It is entirely a question of our own receptivity." We have the key to abundance already. It's receptivity, it's appreciation, it's gratitude, it's delight. The more we seek those things out and really savor them, really revel in them, we increase them, not only in our own experience, but we increase them in their availability to the world at the same time. We have a tendency as human beings, it's naturally built into us, probably because we needed to be able to, at one point in time, we weren't just the apex predator, we also had predators on us. So it was important for us to be able to anticipate negativity so that we could stay alive and reproduce and keep the human race going. So we have, and that's my guess, I don't know for sure why we have this, but human beings have a negativity bias. We emphasize the negative in our thinking. So if 10 things happen to us in a day, and 9 of them are great, and 1 of them is awful, it's the awful one that we tend to focus on. That's just human behavior. We do that. It's necessary for us to know that we do that so that we can intentionally think back, what was that one wonderful thing that happened? How can I neutralize this negativity bias so that, no, the 9 wonderful things, so I can be aware of some of the wonderful things that have happened instead of being obsessed with this one negative thing that happened. I remember many years ago when the television program That Girl started with Marlo Thomas, and being the daughter of Danny Thomas, she was already immersed in comedy, and this was a comedy show, but she blew a couple of the laugh lines so she didn't get laughs on them. from the audience, I guess. Maybe they had a live audience, I can't remember. And she said afterwards, they got good reviews and everything, but she said, all I could think about were those 2 lousy lines. That's negativity bias. That's what we do. If we are aware of it and we notice it, we can adjust for it. So now you are aware of it. You know that we all have negativity bias. The next step is to notice it when you do it. That takes practice because we're used to doing it automatically. But as soon as we notice that we've glommed on to something we're complaining about, we're complaining, we're criticizing, we're loading guilt on somebody else in our own mind. Do you ever do that? That's negativity bias. So when we notice, yeah, I'm doing it, okay. So what's one random good thing I can think of that I could be happy about? I could be happy that I live in Northern California, where it's so beautiful in the fall. Even though the temperature is getting a little cooler, I mean, nobody that lives in a cold climate is going to have any sympathy for us. I know this. But here we are in this beautiful place. And we see it all the time, every day. It's freely given to us. We have it all the time, So we don't notice. Unless you go to Minot, North Dakota, or someplace where it might be really cold and everything is gray and flat. Now, I'm apologizing if you're in Minot, North Dakota. I know there's beauty that you experience there that I can't imagine right now. So, but nevertheless, you know, there are places in the world we would prefer not to be compared to here at this moment ourselves, and yet that's home for someone who knows the nuances of it and could tell you what's wonderful about it. Yes? So we want to make adjustment for that negative bias. When I first started in the ministry and I was up at the church in Santa Rosa, we had bumper stickers that people put on their cars that said, "Look for the good and praise it." Look for the good and praise it. It was an active practice. You have to look for it because negative bias sometimes, you know, kind of smooths it over so we don't notice it. And then we have to actively draw our own attention to it, appreciate it, praise it, be grateful for it. Because when we do that, we have let ourselves know that there is something we're seeing that's wonderful. And when we let ourselves know that, we let creative law know that we're interested in that, in more of that. Amanda and I just went to a very interesting movie called Conclave with Ralph Fiennes. And it is about a time when the Pope dies and the College of Cardinals has to come together to elect a new Pope. And Ralph Fiennes is the secretary at the Vatican who's responsible for calling this conclave together and facilitating it. And he is someone who is introspective and is honest about his own issues and doubts and whatnot. And he knows among the cardinals who are all there to vote who is liked and who is not liked and why. And also how his responsibility falls for him to do this in the conclave. And in the process, I'm not going to say too much about the movie because it has some really interesting twists and turns in it that you don't see coming. But it's interesting watching who admires who thinks who is especially good, and who they don't think is especially good, and how that all evolves through the course of these many votes that they have to put out. And you may know, if you've read Dan Brown, that when there's a ballot and they go through and they vote, when they have not yet elected a pope, because there's a certain minimum number of votes they have to have, then in order to let the faithful know, all those that are around Vatican City, they send up smoke, and the smoke is black when they have not yet successfully elected a pope. And then when they do, it's white, and everybody celebrates even though they don't yet know who the new pope is. That's just useful information to have for the movie in case you go to see it. It doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about. So we might want to ask ourselves, what good have I overlooked? What good have I not yet heard or discovered? What good have I not yet imagined? What can I make space for or look for? Because when we go looking for something, we very often find it. Somebody said, and I don't remember who it was, when you refuse to accept anything less than the best, you very often get it. So do a Google search for something good that you're wondering if it exists in the world. You'll probably find it. And you'll probably find more than one website or article that relates to that particular thing. So far, pretty much everything I look for on the web, I find some version of it. It may not be exactly what I thought I was looking for, but I can find something. You know, looking at humor, if you just put into Google something like a man from Oregon and nothing else, it will bring back all of these stories about something that somebody in Oregon did that were noteworthy or hilarious or ridiculous or annoying, but there'll be a million stories about it. And you didn't even know that you were looking for anything specific, just a man from Oregon. That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying now either. Okay. So going on, the idea is noticing and choosing to notice, what good have I overlooked? What good have I overlooked that's already in my life, that's already around me? Are your grandchildren doing good things, or things that are funny, or things that are delightful? Are your kids calling you every once in a while, or showing up, or getting good grades, or in some other way doing something wonderful, something delightful, something surprising? Are your parents hanging in there and saying things or reminding you of things that you did when you were a kid that are hysterically funny? Whatever it is, flowers blooming in your yard, your dog rolling over and doing something funny, it doesn't matter. There are things everywhere. There are always television programs. You know, maybe it was Norman Cousins who laughed himself well when he was ill with cancer. He went into, I think, a hotel of some sort, and he rented for himself dozens of comedies, and silly comedies, you know, the Marx Brothers, and you know, all kinds of stuff. Just stuff that made him laugh, because in his mind, the more he could laugh and be delighted and entertained, the better that was for his health. And he got well from the cancer he was experiencing. I'm sure he probably had treatment too, but laughter was part of it. That was part of it. Now, you may have received, if you were here last year at Thanksgiving, you may have received your little card in the mail that you filled out last year, right before Thanksgiving, where we ask you to write down something you want to be grateful for next year, just out of the blue. And then you address it to yourself. We're going to be doing this next Sunday. You address it to yourself and put your little card in the envelope, seal it up, and we collect them. And then the next year, in early November, we mail them all back to you. Well, I got mine a couple days ago. Now, when I wrote it a year ago, I was thinking about my grandson, Toby, who's now 17, and struggles he was going through, and as a result, struggles my son was going through, his dad, and also his mom. And so I wrote down, kind of non-specifically, I wrote down I wanted to be grateful for my happy, healthy grandson and his parents. On August 27th, my son and his wife had a baby boy. He is healthy and happy, and they are over the moon about that. But that was not the grandson I was talking about when I wrote that down. So when I got this in the mail, it was like, happy, healthy grandson and happy, healthy parents. I'm going, oh my God, that's exactly what I got. It wasn't exactly what I meant, but it was exactly what I wrote, and it was exactly what I got. One year in Santa Rosa, long time ago, there was a couple in the congregation who had been trying to have a baby. and it had been a very difficult road. And they had tried in vitro fertilization, and that wasn't happening, and it was just very difficult for them dealing with infertility. And so Ginny, the mom, had written down at the Thanksgiving service, "I'm grateful for my children." And the next Thanksgiving, they had a son that they had managed to adopt during that year, who was about 10 months old, I think, at that time, with a little less than a year old, and a baby she had, 2 boys. One they adopted, one she gave birth to, just a little bit younger than the one they had adopted. And her husband, seeing that card when they got it in the mail, said, "Thank God you didn't say, 'I want to be grateful for my litter.' Why didn't you say, 'I want to be grateful for our child?'" He said, "I've been grateful for our children." Boom, they had 2 of them. And she got up and shared this at the Thanksgiving Eve service, and we all fell over laughing. Now, sure, we get plenty of those back where you go, "Well, this didn't happen." But one of the things I wonder is, how much were we willing to shift over the course of the year, whatever it was we needed to shift, in order to open up and make space for that which we wanted to welcome? So when we do this next week, I think I want to take us through some kind of a process to really look within and say, what would I have to shift for this to happen within me? Am I willing to shift in that way? Because if I am, then it's possible that this might come into my life. If I'm not, maybe what I want by this time next year is the willingness to make this shift. Maybe what I want to write down on there is not how I want the world to be, but how I need me to be in a year. So let's think about that over that period of time. Rumi said, and remember, Rumi is a Muslim mystic. "Be grateful," he says, "be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." Now, I don't know about you, but I can think of people that I haven't been grateful for. Several. And yet, how have I grown as a result of those particular people? What have I been invited or challenged to learn or do or grow or enter into because those folks showed up? So I want to say to all of us this morning, let's take a look at our world, at our lives, at our communities, and see who we're not grateful for, and see if we can make an assumption that there's some guidance or gift that is going to emerge out of that connection, even when we don't know what it is, and to be grateful for that, even if we can't be grateful for the person per se at the moment. Donna Cunningham said, "Establishing the habit of contentment takes persistent redirection of the mind away from more gratifying, dramatic, yet uncomfortable and draining trains of thought. It takes no more than 5 minutes at a time to redirect the mind from turmoil into a peaceful state." Now, if it takes more than 5 minutes, what we're dealing with is resistance, not the actual thought. How quickly can we let go of a thought that's causing us discomfort? Because we might think it's really important. But if it's causing us discomfort, it's letting us know that it's not as important as we think. I want to share a story with you to wrap this up today. The question is, can gratitude shift me? Yes. As we're looking at neutralizing our negative bias, what we can discover is that appreciation of what is changes everyone, changes anyone. No one is immune. So here's an interesting experience of that. This woman says, my husband and I conceived our daughter, Catherine, with the help of IVF. We had been trying for a baby for about 2 years with a combination of infertility and recurrent miscarriages. Incredibly, our first round of IVF was a success. Despite a rocky pregnancy, Catherine arrived safe and sound at 37.5 weeks. She was perfect. We were in love. When Catherine was 14 months old, we decided to pursue IVF again. After all, it worked the first time, and let's face it, we weren't getting any younger. I had high hopes for success. Our first round of IVF resulted in a chemical pregnancy. It was hard on me and brought back a lot of sadness. I couldn't shake the thought that my body had failed me, and I had killed that embryo, our perfect little boy. After a couple months, we tried IVF again, transferring another normal embryo. That cycle did not result in a pregnancy. Meanwhile, my 2 closest friends had both become pregnant, one of them on her second cycle trying and the other on her first. It felt like a slap in my face. I developed intense anger toward one of my friends, Anne. She was older than I was and had a 12-month-old daughter whom she'd conceived on the first try. Now here she was pregnant again, still breastfeeding, and thrilled with the good news. I, on the other hand, had been trying for a year. I'd weaned Catherine at 14 months to start IVF meds. Every day I tracked my body and all. This focus on never giving up kept me from being sad. My attitude toward getting pregnant changed. I'd become defiant. I simply set my jaw, put my head down, and charged ahead, fuming at my misfortune. I armed myself with my baby-making arsenal, and I set out to get back at nature. I was not to be knocked down so easily. And then my efforts failed. I reached a low point. In addition to pursuing IVF treatments, we had just moved across the country to a new city where we didn't know anyone. I experienced a breakthrough during a coaching call in late October. My coach started the call by asking, "How are you doing?" And I started sobbing, saying simply, "Terrible." I was embarrassed by the anger I felt toward my newly pregnant friend, but I took a deep breath and confided my feelings. My coach listened patiently, and then she said, "Do you remember what we talked about in our first call ever?" When I started the coaching program, I'd been terrified of what another baby might bring. I didn't want to lose the special relationship that I had with Catherine. After a year of failed attempts at getting pregnant, I'd forgotten all about that. Although I had spent a year chasing a goal that I didn't achieve, I had gained something wonderful. All of this time spent completely focused on Catherine. I thought of my pregnant friend whose baby was much younger than Catherine, and all of the alone time they'd never have together. I'd been so focused on what wasn't working for me that I'd completely ignored the thing that had been so precious to me from the get-go, enjoying the special bond that I had with Catherine. From that moment on, I no longer felt anger toward my friend. I simply felt tremendous gratitude for the time I'd shared with Catherine. Even though she was pregnant, I felt like the lucky one. During that call, I also told my coach what a hard time I was having between the move and the failed IVF attempts. And she asked me, "Do you think maybe you need a break?" It was mid-October, and my coach suggested taking time off to enjoy the holidays. Later that night, I talked the plan over with my husband, telling him, "I want to have some eggnog this year for a change." I instantly felt lighter. I shifted my focus from making a baby to my family. We went to the park every day. We started our Christmas shopping. I made a huge Thanksgiving feast. Every day felt lighter, and I began to appreciate those little moments that I'd otherwise have overlooked. Holding David's hand, singing songs with Catherine, reading a book I'd been putting off. I felt happy and at peace. I let go of any expectation that we might get pregnant. I felt happy. I had an appointment with a new fertility doctor on November 12th. My cycle had been strange that month, and it occurred to me I should probably take a pregnancy test in case the new doctor wanted to run a test. Practically, as I was running out the door, I took a pregnancy test, and I instantly saw that beautiful second line. My mouth dropped, and I stood there in disbelief. I put the test in my purse and drove to the appointment, checking it every few minutes as I was driving to make sure I wasn't seeing things. This was our first natural pregnancy in 3.5 years. When I look back on this story, it's not the positive pregnancy test that I focus on. The outcome doesn't feel as significant to me as the process that led up to it. Once I realized how lucky I was already, I felt a shift. Although we never stopped hoping and trying for another baby, I let go of all expectations that anything would happen. I stopped trying to control the outcome and accepted that whatever would happen would be the right thing. As it turns out, another Christmas has come and gone, and I missed out on the eggnog again this year. I'm not complaining, though. Such gifts are already in our lives. Such gifts. If you want to have a marvelous Thanksgiving, an incredible Christmas, I encourage you to start today and let this be kind of your Advent wreath, that every day you look for one thing different from everything else you've looked at before. You look for one thing that you can appreciate and be delighted about, something different than the one you did the day before and the day before that. And if you do that, by the time you come to the new year, we will all fill this hall with light. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. Let's anchor this within now. So I invite you to turn within, knowing together that there is only one, and that one is an infinite presence of love and abundance, creativity, peace, wonder. Each one of us is made from that presence, a unique manifestation of the divine, carrying within us the qualities of the divine that shine more and more within us and in our lives as we notice them and appreciate them and bring them forward within us and around us. So we begin in this moment by appreciating ourselves exactly as we are and exactly as we are not. Appreciating the uniqueness, the abilities, the skills and talents, the learning, everything we've ever done well, everything we've ever learned to do, everything we've ever failed at. We are grateful for the uniqueness of this life and for experiencing it all. We're grateful for our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our relatives and friends, our lives. And we know that light and power and presence surround us in this place and fill us now. So I send this word into that creative law of mind and spirit to create for us an invitation, an opening in awareness, allowing us to see, to experience, to feel, honestly and truthfully, our own appreciation, our own gratitude. We let this prayer go into that creative law and into the heart of God, where it really always has been the truth about us. We let it go in love and simply let it be so. And together we say, and so it is. I invite the ushers to come forward now as we prepare to receive our offering. And let's stand for the morning's affirmation together. Oops, oh nuts. Too much enthusiasm there. Let's go back. Thank you. There we go. Let's say this together. When I let myself feel joyful and delighted, I am in the heart of gratitude. I appreciate the good that is mine, and I'm quick to express my thanks to others. Giving and receiving is easy and natural for me, and so it is. Thank you. You may be seated. And now, ushers, please come forward. We want to bless the offering. Now, all of us here in this room are the gift. So the gift that we're blessing, the gift that we're giving, is ourselves. Any financial gifts that you choose to give are an extension of you. They're part of the abundance of the substance of the universe that's been entrusted to each one of us. So we bless that as well as we send it out into the world to do the work we send it to, because it is an extension of the infinite and of us. We want to also bless everything that's been given to Golden Gate throughout this past week, from prayers to service to money. And we welcome more. We welcome more of all of that, because we're grateful right now for everything that has come forward so far. If you're online with us this morning and you'd like to donate, you can text an offering. Just text the dollar amount you want to give to that number on the screen and then follow the directions. That's also possible to do in the room as well. And I invite you to, if you're giving something, but you're giving yourself. So everybody, put your hands over your heart as we prepare to bless the offering by saying together, "This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is."
Praise for the stillness when I rise. Praise for awakening satisfied. Praise for movement and silent time. A healthy body and a quiet mind. Praise for the clean water that I drink, that keeps things flowing and helps me think. Praise for the nourishing food I eat, that keeps me going and feeling sweet. And the better it gets, the better it gets, yeah. Praise for the twists, praise for the turns, praise for the teachers and the lessons learned. Praise for the smooth, praise for the rough, praise for knowing I'm good enough. Praise for my hands and a voice that's strong, praise for finding myself in song. Praise for the ways that I can serve, praise for abundance that I deserve. And the better it gets, the better it gets, yeah. Praise for the work, praise for the play, praise for the rest at end of day. Praise for my friends, praise for my clan, praise for their open hearts and hands. Praise for my partner and answered prayer, praise for the real love that we share. Praise for the gifts that I've been given, praise for the rich life I am living, yeah. And the better it gets, the better it gets, yeah. I feel appreciation for all that is. I feel eagerness for all that's to come. I feel appreciation for all that is. I feel eagerness for all that's to come, yeah.
Thank you, Nathan. Woohoo. So, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, we as a congregation accept this offering, and we collectively send it out into the world to boost our awareness of good and abundance and delight everywhere it goes. And so it is.
So it is.
All right. Now, if you happen to be here for the very first time this morning, there is a table behind this section of seats back here with lots of handouts. You're welcome to pick up anything back there. Those are all for you, to take them with you. And also there are welcome packets. So we encourage you to take a welcome packet, take the blue card out of it, fill it out and give it to Galen back there. She's waving it up in the air. And she is going to give you a little book as our thank you to you for being here today. And it's also our invitation to you to come back and be with us often. So whenever you look in that little book for a moment of uplift, just remember us here and that we're eagerly waiting to greet you and welcome you back. Also, I want to thank everybody who has participated today in setting up and creating this wonderful space for us. We have a wonderful altar over here that celebrates home and family, gratitude for home and family. So Karen Frost brought these in this morning. Her grandmother made this quilt and also the pillow. The cross-stitch needlepoint up here is one that Karen did for her own mom, and it hung in her mom's house for 30-some-odd years. And then we have all kinds of stuff that you have around home, you know, the ivy and all the little houses that are there for our appreciation and blessing. And we are knowing with Randy and Karen and their family that their perfect right home is revealing itself right now. So just imagine that we're all headed over there to help carry boxes to their new place, that we're all packing up stuff and taking it and going to the new house. And let's acknowledge everybody who participated in putting this morning together for us right now. Yes. We have a workshop coming up, How and Why to Cultivate Friendships After Age 50, with Dr. Wendy Lyon. That's going to be at our Learning Center office in downtown San Rafael on December 8th. That's 2 weeks from today. And it's a 2.5-hour workshop. Some of it is information and some of it will be interactive and some of it is practical, and we will have a snack break. So that is from 1 to 3:30 at the office. You can register through our website. If you're interested in attending, just sign up on the back here so we know that you intend to register and participate. It gives us an idea of how many people we're going to have. But you register through our website. You just go to the events tab and look for the workshop under there. Click on that and you'll find your way to the registration page. It's $25, so a deal at twice the price. Also, those of you that are interested in sacred travel and would like to go to Bali, there is a group going next September from the 20th to the 30th, and it's the Atascadero Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Elizabeth Rowley Hogue is taking this group, and they have space for a few more people, and I know some of you wanted to go to Bali, so we are invited to participate with them. If you go to the link below, and it's also in your Sunday bulletin, you'll find all the information about this trip, and you can also find the link and the passcode to go and see the Zoom information session that Reverend Karen Fry from Spirit Tours did with that group, and that will get some of your questions answered as well. So that's coming up next year, but they'd love to have you register now so they know you're going. Also, our monthly service is happening at the San Francisco Marin Food Bank on December 10th, and Ellen Nicosia is our coordinator for that. So if you would like to participate for that 2 hours, which is coming up on the 10th of December, that's a Tuesday from noon to 2, contact Ellen. Either text her or give her an email with your contact info, letting her know you want to be part of the December team. And she'll let you know everything you need to know from there. Also, I want to let you know that one of the people who is interested in our music director's position, is going to be doing music here for us on the first Sunday in December. His name is Justin Pine. And so we'll have a chance to see what he does and how we like him. And so as I have been asking you to envision a new music director up here with the keyboard every week, you know, on December, whatever that Sunday is, the first Sunday of December, we'll have somebody here that you can, the first, I guess it is, you'll have somebody here that you can see how well he fits in that spot. And then we'll see what happens from there. I also want to let you know, I don't have a slide for this, but I want to let you know that I am going to be doing a Thanksgiving Eve service. I'm going to be doing it on Zoom on Wednesday night, and it will be in place of the usual Wednesday evening meditation. So we'll start at 7:15. It will be about an hour. I believe the Zoom link is in your Sunday morning bulletin, so you can see it. And it will also be in the newsletter that we send out this week and in your bulletin next week. So on Wednesday, not this Wednesday, this is Visioning Wednesday, but next Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving Day, we'll be doing a Thanksgiving Eve service. And there are several things that you want to have with you. You're going to want to have a candle. You're going to want to have some kind of a noisemaker, a bell, a rattle, a drum, something like that, and something in front of you that at least represents something from this year that was really wonderful that you appreciate, and something that represents something you would like to be growing into gratitude for at this time next year. So 4 things, and I think it's in your bulletin, so don't worry about it. You'll be able to refer to that later. All right. Now, there are several ways to request prayer. We have our practitioners available for prayer right after the service, and the prayer box is there if you want to put a written request in additionally or instead. You can also request prayer online through our website under the Resources tab, and you can sign up over here if you'd like to have a practitioner telephone you to give you a prayer. So that's also available. Let me invite the practitioners now to surround the room as we prepare to pray out. Sorry I was so long-winded today, folks. I know I'm always long-winded, but more so today. So now we're just going to pray. And as we join together, what I'm going to invite you to do is to just allow this to sink in. We're all going to pray together at the same time right now. As I turn within, I recognize and know in this moment there is one infinite presence in, around, and through all of us. And this presence is the presence of aliveness, of hopefulness, of enthusiasm, of youthfulness, of anticipation, of forward-looking expectancy. This child presence, this innocent beginner's mind is in every one of us. And so I now declare that whatever in life has blocked this or worn it out, apparently, that is dropped, that cloaking is dropped, and the original curiosity, delight, enthusiasm is being revealed to each of us now. It transforms and heals us through joy and laughter. And I am deeply grateful this is true right now. So I let this go in love, and I simply let it be as I say. And so it is. And so it is. Please stand and join us for the closing blessing and the closing song now. We say this blessing together. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. And this last song is not one we know, and it's a little tricky, so just do your best.
Thanks very much, everyone, for being here this morning. I'd like to take us out with a great song by Janice Stanfield called More Than Enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. I have more than enough of all that I need to do all I can do, be all I can be as I go through this day. This is my creed, I have more than enough of all that I need, more than enough of all that I need. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Is there anyone who can't remember a time when you had less money and you did just fine compared to where we were? We've come all this far. Why not spend the day enjoying where we are? I have more than enough of all that I need to do all I can do, be all I can be as I go through this day. This is my creed, I have more than enough of all that I need, more than enough of all that I need. Hey, now, 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 more than enough.
You got this part down.
Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Hey, now, 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 more than enough. Take a quick look back at dreams of yesterday, dreams of living a life that you live today. We spend so much time wanting so much more when there's plenty here to be thankful for. I have more than enough of all that I need to do all I can do, be all I can be as I go through this day. This is my creed, I have more than enough of all that I need, more than enough of all that I need. Hey, now, 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 now.